Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Kellen's Coffee Talk. I'm Kellen Ann, and I'm your host. I just want to give a brief thank you to Bruce from Blue Sky Video Productions TV. He's our sponsor today. And contact Bruce for to use his expertise in producing your live stream. Since we're all doing so many live streams these days, it's always good to have a pro on your side, and Bruce is that guy. You can follow him on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, any kind of social media, Blue Sky Video TV, and there it is, BSV TV. My guest today comes to us from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He calls himself a serial entrepreneur, and I'm going to have him explain that to us. He has shared the stage with Tracy. That's pretty exciting. And today he's going to tell us why you need a business coach. It's my pleasure to introduce Phil Gilkes, or as we call him, CoachPhil. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Kellen.
Thank you so much for being on Coffee Talk today.
I'm honored, and I appreciate the invite to be here with you.
Yes. Well, let's get this thing started. Tell me something about Phil that our audience may not know.
Well, I kind of like hockey. I don't play anymore. I watch it. But when I was younger, I went and where were we? Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I played in a hockey tournament in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We played in the same arena that at that time, International Ice Hockey League played at. And so the Tulsa Oilers were there, and so were we. And I got a shutout in the only game I got to play. So I played hockey internationally.
That's amazing. Have you ever been hit by a puck?
Yeah, I've lost track of how many times I was. Yes. I've actually been concussed by a puck.
Okay. So, the premise was I don't need a business coach. And everybody says that in their mind. Can you tell me why we would need a business coach?
Kellen, I hear that a lot. It's amazing. Can I go back to that playing hockey in Tulsa? So one of the guys I played with, we're still friends today. And when we were 18 years old playing hockey in Tulsa, him and his family were running a sporting goods store. Fast forward to him getting to the point where he's going to retire and have his child take over. They hired a business coach. Wasn't me, but that's okay. I still like him. And the reason they hired a business coach was to do the transition thing with the family member, so an exit strategy. And he said to me, he says, we've been running our business for 30 years. It's been had its up and down. We've had some successes. We've got some real estate, and we've been successful in our own community. Why do we need a coach? He says, I didn't know what I didn't know after working with a coach for 12 months. It's amazing. So that's kind of why you need a coach. Or business coaches help entrepreneurs smash through roadblocks. Could you imagine getting to your dreams in half the time and half the effort? That's why you need to hire a business coach.
That's awesome. So tell me about your style. Hey, George. Say hi to George, Phil. Hey, Eric.
Good morning, George. And there's Eric.
And there's Wes. It's good. Hey,
Wes.
We got all the gang here. This is awesome. Let's see. You had told me, we were talking last night, and you had told me about some success stories that you've had. Would you like to share one or two of those?
In terms of the people that I've worked with?
Yeah, let's talk about your client.
Yeah, okay. So going back to the question you asked, why should somebody hire a business coach? And I mentioned that it helps entrepreneurs break through their roadblocks. So one of the roadblocks was working with another business coach, and I worked with him from January to October last year, and he was struggling to grow his business. I mean, he was only making a few $100s a month, and it wasn't that he wasn't talented. He's a brilliant guy. He's an engineer, and because he was an engineer, he was getting stuck in his how. So I'm a big advocate as if you know what you want and why you want it, and stifle a how and go after what you really, really want, you're more likely to make it happen. So he gave me an unsolicited LinkedIn recommendation. And when I saw what he put in there, I had to go back and ask him about the math. Well, he is an engineer and he got the math right. So what he was able to do was to put together some strategies that I introduced to him, a contingency sort of share in the wealth, much the same as what a lawyer does when they get retained with a business. And so as a result of that, he had a 7,500% increase. Yes, I did say 7,500% increase, because remember, this guy had a lot of talent. He just needed to be able to break through his limiting beliefs. And as a result of that, and having a strategy to put together a proposal, he's going to be six figures, a high six figures by the end of this year. So remember, this just all happened last year. It happened when I was in Cancun at a conference with a bunch of other business coaches, and I got a text message from him via Facebook. And he said, Phil, it's raining here. And he's in Michigan. And I said, holy crap, it's raining here too, because in October it was tropical rain in Cancun, and we had an umbrella, and the umbrella wasn't enough to keep you dry, but we needed to keep some sort of dryness because we're going to a conference in an air conditioning room. Anyway, he didn't mean that kind of rain. He meant that the opportunities that he'd been working on, that we'd been talking about, had come to fruition. So he went from $500 to $13,000 in October, and then since then, because of the contingency, has shared in the success of the company. Matter of fact, I just talked to him yesterday, and he acted as the CEO for one of his clients because they had a medical emergency, and the wife of the CEO phoned him and asked him if he'd run the company for a little bit. So that's kind of one of the reasons why you might want to have a business coach.
Oh, that's amazing. So what do you think is the biggest problem or challenge that an entrepreneur or somebody that's coming to seek your services, what is usually holding them back? What's the most popular thing that you've come across?
Yeah, I think a common thread for most entrepreneurs is they're entrepreneurs for a reason. They're not employable. So they've created their own opportunity. They've invented theirself. They've created a business. They started a business, bought a franchise. So why do they need help? They're already pretty good already. Now, I'm broad stroking that and generally speaking. One word sums it up: apathy. That's really what it is. So I'm not a CPA. Some coaches are. And I'm not a lawyer. And some coaches have been. And with a CPA or a lawyer or an attorney, you know that you need them for some reason. Avoid paying too much tax, being compliant with the countries you're in, and a lawyer to put together agreements to fight for you, those sort of things. People don't see a business coach in the same light as that. Yet, for every dollar that's invested, easily you should be able to get $5 to $7 back. I don't know if anybody's doing that in the stock market in any time, but with a business coach, if you do the work that you're assigned or that comes out of the opportunities of working with a business coach, you can easily make those sort of things. That's how you get that 7,500% type of increase in business.
That's amazing. So who's the longest client you've had? Like, you've been coaching them for the most amount of time?
Yeah, the longest one would be just shy of 5 years. And that started with they didn't have their buy-sell agreement in place. So there was two original partners who had known for a long time. And I worked with the one that ended up retaining and keeping the business, and helped him divorce his partner. And then I worked with him for 5 years with a new partner in him to build the business to where it is today. I don't work with them anymore. They've done a really, really good job. They put in the effort and put in the work. So it's been amazing to see what they've done with themselves and their business.
So I know you can search coach, business coach, personal coach, and everybody thinks they're like a dime a dozen because there's so many of them. Now, we know that's not true with you. So what makes you different than any other, coach that somebody would look to hire?
Where I'd rather direct people to than answer this directly. Go to my LinkedIn page and have a look and see what people are saying. Generally, it's my approach. I can be a hard ass when I need to be a hard ass, because when you hire a business coach, you're not you shouldn't be hiring them for friends. You already have a lot of friends. And the business coach should be your business partner without any equity in the business, if that makes sense. So they have a passion. I have a passion for your business, and but I generally don't have any equity in the business at all. I become that person that you can talk to instead of talking to your husband or to maybe your wife, depending on, or your partner. You have somebody who doesn't have the same emotional connection to it and can be a voice of reason. It doesn't mean I always have the answers. Quite often, I don't have the answers. I help my clients identify where they want to go, so where they are at today and where they want to go in the future. And I help them invent and create a way to get to their ideal future and keep them on task based on what the goals are that they've told me that they want to do. And we generally work with 4 key areas, trying to live a balanced life. It's near impossible, but if we don't try, then we never can. So we work with something called a diamond map. And there's 4 components with a diamond map. There's health and fitness, relationships, both personal and professional. And then there's career. What do you want to do with your career? What do you need to learn? What titles, positions, that sort of thing, or accomplishments you want to make if you're the owner of the business. And then what's your financial goals? What do you want? How much money do you want in the bank? And what do you want to do with that? Do you want to give it away? Do you want to be like Andrew Carnegie, who spent half his life generating money and the second half of his life giving it away? So I don't really care what your goals are, but you damn well better, because I'm going to hold your feet to the fire.
Nice. Let's see. Eric says, Coach Phil, who are up and coming sales coaches in your community?
Well, besides myself.
You're not up and coming. You're like already awesome.
Yeah, I know. That's a great question. I don't really have anybody off the top of my head that I could point you to.
Okay.
Sorry, Eric, to disappoint you.
No worries. Let's see. Good morning, Kellen, Coach Phil, and all my ESW friends. Yes. Good morning, ESW. Mega Sharks. Love it. We have a couple people that would like to ask you questions. So I'll have Bruce bring in Michelle and JR, and let's see what they have to say. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, good morning.
Thank you for being here.
No, my pleasure. I have a question / testimonial, I guess. I had a session with Coach Phil, and it was absolutely amazing. And we talked about effective communication. And I just wanted to say to those who are watching, he's amazing. Okay. Things that I learned from him were basic things, but things that I had never really thought about before. Not only things that would help me communicate with my clients, with the individuals who report to me, but with my family, with my children. So I was wondering, Coach Phil, if you could just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, happy to. So what Michelle's talking about is behavioral science. Some would know it as DISC. There's another number of other assessments that I leverage, but the one we worked through was DISC. And DISC divides us into 4 major components. There's a director, influencer, steady, and compliant. That's how you come up with the letters DISC, the letters that create DISC. And what they're about is when I'm going through a review of an assessment, so we would do an assessment, then it would be a review or a coaching session, so that my client would get the most out of it. And to be honest with you, I do it for 2 reasons. I get to know the client better, so I know what they're about and how to coach them, what's their behavioral style. And then the other thing is they're getting some value as well, so that they can lead their team and themselves, just like Michelle was saying. So identifying what the 4 quadrants are and identifying what your top 2 are is how you can start to build rapport. So we're all probably familiar with the golden rule. So I'm just going to ask Kellen if she knows the golden rule, and then I'll jump back and explain something about that. Do you know the golden rule, Kellen? Am I putting you on the spot?
No, he who has the gold makes the rule.
Well, that's one of them. Yes, absolutely. And
treat others as you would like to be treated.
Yeah, say that again.
I said, you treat others like you would like to be treated.
Right. So that's a golden rule. Generally, it's pretty okay philosophy. The challenge is, though, if you want to lead people, sell people, motivate people, and inspire people, It's wrong. You want to know the platinum rule, and the platinum rule is do unto others how they prefer to be done unto, which means that you're in stride with them and you're building rapport quicker. And as a result of that, you increase your effectiveness, your ability to get them to make a commitment to your idea, your offer, etc., becomes far easier because you're speaking in their language, so to speak. So DISC is an observable communication language. And here's a quick lesson. For all of you who have never done a DISC, or if you've done a DISC and want to just review it. So one of the things that was taught to me, how can you identify what people are and how to communicate to them? So two things, think of your dashboard on your car. There's a speedometer and there's a temperature gauge. So we have the speedometer to identify speed, how fast are we going? And we have the temperature gauge to identify what's going on with either the comfort of our interior or the engine. So in this case, we'll just talk engine. So there's hot and cold. So if you were to find somebody that was fast-paced and guarded, that would be the D, the director. They're very in charge. The President of the United States would be an example of somebody who would be in the D characteristics. An influencer would be somebody like Oprah Winfrey, probably. And she would be open and fast-paced, so that would make her an influencer. An S would be like a Jack Canfield, so he's steady. He likes helping a lot of people, so he would be slow and open. And then the last one, this would be your accountant, or it damn well better be your accountant. And the accountant would be compliant, so which means they would be very guarded and very slow because they're meticulous with detail. Matter of fact, so much so as if you needed something done in a hurry with accuracy, the compliant individual is not the best person because they dot the I's and cross the T's, and then they go back and they dot the I's and then cross the T's, and then they go back and dot the I's and cross the T's. So you need a blend of somebody. So none of us have just one of these traits. We all have a blend of all four of them. Understanding what your major two styles are and what your styles, the major two styles of the people you're working with, allows you to dovetail and learn how to communicate to them. And as a result of that, the trust is there much quicker, much quicker.
Very good. Michelle, since you have had experience with CoachPhil, how can you give a specific example of something that, it changed in the way you do work or the way you communicate?
I can give you a fantastic example. And believe it or not, I haven't told you this yet. It's not quite a done deal. I am an influencer, an I, pointing a little bit toward D, I think. So what I am actually in the process of doing today, I sold something that's an entirely, I sell temporary staffing. That's an entirely different service line from anything that we've done before, which is really going to result in us opening a new division. Now, CoachPhil is going to know this. This is not a good thing, but he's going to know that I did this, okay? I did not have permission from my owner, okay? We're a privately owned company. I went for it, I did it, and now that it's almost a done deal, I'm going to try to influence I will influence my owner as to why what I did was the best decision.
Well, I always say ask for forgiveness, not permission.
That's exactly right. So that is, in what I got from CoachPhil, that is straight up my personality. And that was just a natural thing for me to do because I'm here to sell things and to increase business. That's what I do. And even though it's going to be an entirely different division, and I don't have insurance for any of this, and I'm just going to have to start really from ground zero. But, again, I'm going to ask forgiveness.
Yes. Well, I think he'll be happy with that.
We'll see. We'll know today at 1 o'clock.
We'll be finding. We'll be listening to find out.
Yeah, you'll know.
Well, thanks, Michelle. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach Phil.
Okay, I think JR. Is JR still want to be? Does he have a question? I thought that he was in the chat. Okay, let's see. Even if you are a genius, having another set of eyes looking at what you are not focused upon. A coach can help you see the rest of the opportunity that you can attain. That's for sure, isn't it, Phil?
Oh, absolutely it is. What's that quote? You can't see the trees for the forest or the forest for the trees. That's exactly right. It gives you a different perspective. I was working with a financial planner, and he kept telling me what his goal was. And then as he was telling me his goal orally, his body was telling me something else. So I asked him, so is that what you really want? And he goes, what do you mean? He says, well, there's some incongruencies here. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to take a trip and go to Texas and do some stuff. When I come back, we'll revisit it. So when he came back, he's like, I got it. And he totally changed what he really wanted to do. And when he explained it and I watched his body language, they were now congruent. So when we're living in our own skin, we can't always see or feel that. So having another set of eyes that are not emotionally attached to your situation makes things a lot easier to move faster. Like I said before, helping entrepreneurs smash through roadblocks, and whether it's a business one, there's 4 key areas that I work in. The one I do a little in, but so there's time, team, money, and exit strategy. And the one that I do very little in, I understand it, but exit strategy, you don't just put a sign on the outside of a building and sell it. You'll devalue it if you do that. By the way, there's a free thing. Do not do that in case you were thinking of doing that. When it comes to selling a business, it's unlike selling a piece of real estate. You don't just get a stager, a realtor, and then clean it up and put a sign on it and then advertise it, because that's how generally houses are sold, in one way, shape, or form of that. But a business is much more complicated. There could be partners, there could be assets. Do they get the business? Do they get the building? What's the buyout? Is the owner involved with it down the road? There's all sorts of things, right? So you need a team to help you sell your business for the maximum amount of money. So I don't do that. I help with that, but I don't do it because it's a specialized field. And there are some really good business coaches that actually specialize in that. And with the people I hang out with, I have a team that I can introduce you to make that happen for you. They do it really, really well.
So you have a newsletter. Do you want to let us know because I get it every morning and it's a good one. I'm telling you, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's basically dealing with sales, marketing, mindset, and anything related to business. It could be time management, people skills, all those sort of things. And it varies from month to month. Otherwise, it'd be pretty boring reading the same articles over and over. So there's a mix of different things. And I didn't give you the link to get it. So if you wanted to get a copy or be put on my mailing list, all you have to do is send me an email to phil@coachphil.ca, and I will send you, I'll put you into the list, and you'll get it every month when it pops out. There's some really darn good stories there. And I also have a blog. Thanks for putting that up. And I needed a coach. And I have a website, and I do some things with it. And I procrastinated and forgot to do some things. So I met our producer, Bruce, several months back, and we had a one-on-one conversation. And he had done his homework. Talk about a producer and guy who knows video. So we had to chat, and he says, yeah, you have a blog, but you haven't put anything in there since 2017. And you have a YouTube channel. That's some pretty good videos from 2018, but really nothing current. So thanks to Bruce, I have a lot more current content in there now. As you can see, I've gone the other extreme. I try to put something in a few times a week, sometimes several times a week. I do a live stream every morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Daylight Time. Right now, I guess it'd be standard in a few more months, a few more weeks. Things that I focus on are sales, marketing, and mindset. And sometimes it's a combination of all three, and sometimes it's just one of the components. And on Fridays at 10, I have a same time zone. I have a longer version where I get somebody in and I interview them. Typically, I work with an associate of mine in England, and we talk about different things for about 30 minutes and share our knowledge and wisdom to help people get through whatever it is they're trying to get through.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so I had a question and I just drew a blank. So we talked about brainstorming. I know. You Like, have you ever like had somebody come in with just this outrageous, crazy, like where he wants to be? And so do you just say, you are flat crazy? Or
Well,
how do you deal with somebody
I
like
do
that?
have one,
That'd
a
be me,
lovely,
right?
a lovely woman who is Canadian, a mother of three,
Okay, that's
and when I met her, she was referred to me by another client of mine, an IT company referred her. She's a CPA, and when I had the introduction meeting with her, she told me about this big, hairy, audacious goal about how she'd like to be able to raise her kids and live in a tropical location in the winter, because sometimes winters are cold up here. Not always, but usually they are. And in my head, and run her practice there and raise her kids. I went, oh my God. I doubted it. And then I stopped myself and I said, wait a minute, my job is not to judge the goal. My job is to work with them to help them manifest it if that's what they want to do. And so I shut my monkey brain up, which is a really good lesson for me. And we worked together. And just the other day, I haven't worked with her for a while, but just the other day, she sent me an unsolicited recommendation on LinkedIn. And essentially what she's done is when I was working with her, it was less than 8 months. She was able to move to Cancun, continue to grow her practice, get rid of clients that were taking her energy away, get paid what she was worth, help her see herself as the value provider that she wanted to be, and not let the abusive emotional relationship stuff that she went through prior to working with me not get in her way. So as a result of that, she's living there now, I think full time in Cancun, and avoids winter all the time. So that's one of my proudest ones. Was a short stint. It was only 8 months work, but it was it's fascinating. Matter of fact, I was looking at some pictures on my phone about things, and that picture of her and her kids and us down there was fun.
Hey, that's a great story.
Yeah,
a great
I love
testimonial, to say the least. So I thought there was a question. Oh, Charles wants to know, what is the affiliation with Brian Tracy?
What's the affiliation with Brian Tracy? Yeah, actually, I own a franchise that's powered by Brian Tracy. My first Brian Tracy story, though, I have several before I got into the franchise. I've been a franchise owner for 12 years now. And I first met him when I was selling homes, and then there was a downturn in the economy. The mortgages were 21%, and people wanted to buy houses but couldn't qualify. So I was selling houses. So the company I was working for was the largest one in Canada and number 4 in North America. And even though they were that large, they had acquired too many assets they couldn't financially manage, and they ended up laying people off. So when I got laid off, I thought, well, I like selling. What can I do? I went and sold cars. So I thought you could learn how to negotiate. So I did that. And one of the sales managers there said, hey, Gilkes, you like this stuff, right? I said, what stuff's that, Heinzie? He says, this self-development stuff. I says, yeah, I love that stuff. He said, here's a ticket. I said, where am I going? He says, I don't know, some guy. So I went to some guy, and the some guy was Brian Tracy. He was delivering at that time the Phoenix seminar. So the Phoenix seminar was a 2-day workshop where he helped us break through our limiting beliefs, set goals, do affirmations, and all sorts of stuff. I could tell you a whole bunch of things about that, but I'll just share one thing specific to me. Was I had been studying Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill's work. And one of the success principles or laws is auto-suggestions, or today we call them affirmations. So I had this thought, because I was doing the auto-suggestions, and I thought to myself, geez, I wonder if I put that with some quiet music in the background and shut my eyes, I wonder if it would go in my brain quicker. Well, at the end of day 1 at the Phoenix seminar, Brian said, fold all your stuff up, put your feet flat on the floor, get comfortable, back straight. He put on this Baroque music and these auto-suggestions. I like myself. I really like myself. And on and on and on. So I thought, I had the idea, but Brian brought it to the public. So that was one of my stories. Oh, another story I had was Brian says, stay away from the 3 white poisons: sugar, salt, and starch. So we had a lunch break one of the days, and I had French fries with whatever the sandwich was. And Brian said he doesn't eat French fries. So he actually stole some from my plate. So when I was going through my certification training, and Brian was there to give us the rite of passage experience and giving us our certificates, because I'm a trained facilitator where I train the trainer with Perform at Your Best, which is the modern day version of the Phoenix seminar. I said to him, I said, Brian, you remember the Marlboro Inn in Calgary? And we were at the Phoenix seminar and you said you don't eat French fries? He goes, yeah. I said, well, it was a bit of a fib, right? I says, you don't buy French fries. You just steal. And he laughed.
Super funny. Oh my gosh. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions. So I bet the only thing I can say is even if you think that you don't need a coach, you should, make contact with Phil. So do you, what's the best way for them to contact you? They have questions or, they want to know about the process.
Yeah, they could send me an email and let me know they're interested, and I could send them my coordinates, how we can contact. I can send them my calendar scheduler. I find that's a really useful tool in saving time and plugging in spots for people to fit their calendar instead of back and forth. Well, I got a time on this day at this time. What about you? No, that doesn't work with me. Just go to a scheduler. In the scheduler, you look at your schedule and click on it. Oh, look at this. Our producer's got all of the coordinates right on up there. The only thing it's not, everything's there. My phone numbers, everything. So if you can read that screen, I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
Okay, so you have a prize that you'd like to give one of our viewers. And did you want me to do the question, or do you just want? Do you want me to do a trivia question?
It's CoachPhil.
It's CoachPhil Megamind. I'll let you answer that.
I'm in the Megamind group. Yes, I was invited in by Eric, and the tribe allowed me to stay. So I appreciate that.
I know what it's like. Oh, you said he was introverted? You said Eric was introverted?
No.
I think he's pulling our leg. Okay. So do we want to do the trivia question?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. When money is on the table and more is around the corner, you're probably fine, Michelle, once his ego recovers. Yeah. I think I saw a post where that she should do the conversation live. So
yeah, that would be cool. And I think JR is absolutely right.
Ronnie said that. Okay, is there anything else? Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a trivia question, and I'm trying to think the best way to, I think if you know the answer to this question, message me on Facebook, and the first person with the correct answer will win. And here, this is fun. If CoachPhil were a spice, what spice would he be? So there's our question for, and tell me what the prize is.
Yeah, happy to do that. So you got a sample of what the prize is. You heard Michelle say that she learned a bunch of things that helped her understand some things in communicating, confirm some things she already knew, which is cool, and then how to use that to move forward and leverage and play to your strengths, really. So it's a disc assessment plus a coaching session. It's valued at just under, $497. So whoever gets that gets a session with me, an assessment, and we'll have a review and visit around what it all means to you.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate you being here and dispelling the myth of I don't need a coach, because it's obvious that even the most accomplished person, needs to brainstorm with somebody, bounce ideas off somebody, might need someone to make them accountable. And then what's the fourth thing? Receive guidance, be open to receive guidance. And that completely defines you, Phil. Thank you for being on my show today.
You're very welcome. One thing I forgot to mention, if anybody wants them, again, email me. I've got a couple of links. I meant to send them to you earlier, but I didn't. So my bad. But the links go to Eric Schmidt, who is the former chairman of Google at the early days. And the video is him talking about people saying, you need a coach. He's about, why do I need a coach? I'm a successful CEO. He had a coach and moved it up to the next level. And there's another TED Talk that talks about why you need a coach. So if you're interested in seeing what other people are saying, not Coach Phil, happy to share those if anybody wants to watch them.
Oh, here, right. Here's some. What's the most common pitfall most business owners struggle with? Hey, Justin.
Yeah, Justin, I don't think, the 6 inches between your ears. They get stuck in their own stuff. They think they're already good enough. Generally speaking, that would be a common thing that I've run into.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I think that's it. So is there any final things you'd like to say? People that are listening right now, any final messages?
Yeah, if you want to break through your barriers and double your effectiveness in half the time, then find a coach. It doesn't have to be me. There's other ones out there, and there's business coaches, and there's speaking coaches, and there's life coaches, and all sorts of coaches. So determine what it is you want to do and get help. It's nothing wrong with having a coach. If you look at all of the professional athletes, golfers, hockey players, football players, they all have coaches, and quite often more than one flavor of a coach. Mm-hmm. So in golf, they would have a driving coach, a putting coach, a chipping coach, that sort of, and a mindset coach to help them keep their head on straight and the inner dialogue with themselves on point, so that they can be the best them that they could possibly be.
Great. Well, thank you again. And please remember BSVP TV, Blue Sky Video Productions. Bruce is my producer and sponsor of this show. So I hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you next week, where my guest will be Steve Rizzo.
Awesome.
Have a great day, y'all.